Good evening. Welcome, everybody. Excited to be here. Hope everyone's having a great night. If you're new here, we're going to be here for about a couple hours. This is a very different kind of place for the history of this channel, so this is not going to be entertaining. This is not going to be entertainment. This is just a place where we get people talking about things that are on their mind. You can use this place to share something that's been weighing on you, something difficult. This is just an open-minded, neighborly place. And we'll be listening to stories here from whoever calls in for about 2 hours. We also have a Discord server that's completely free to join. It's an extension of this Anonymous live stream. You can find the link to that Discord in the description. This is not to be confused with the new AV Club Discord for AV Club members, which you won't be able to find access to anywhere except on AV Club. So now we got 2 Discord servers going on. What is happening? Yeah, so that's the deal. It's been a crazy week for me. Lots going on. You guys are awesome. It's always great to see a few people in here. And lines are opening now. I am not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I get that question a lot because of this stream. I'm not here to fix your problems. I can't fix your problems. Only you can do that. But we will give you a place to share free of judgment. None of us are going to judge you for the things you say. Of course, I can't control the people in the chat. But that's kind of the beauty of this, is that you will have the chat as a resource for you after the call to revisit and get alternative perspectives on your situation. And you can pick and choose what is helpful to you from the chat. And I ask that you do the same with whatever I say on the phone. Again, I can't fix your problems. I'm not here to attempt to, but if you call, we'll have a conversation. Hello, thanks for calling.
Well, howdy, boss. I'll try to make the story simple here. I was in a relationship for an extended period of time, I guess, a couple years, and we were getting pretty darn serious. And basically, at some point around Christmas time last year, this person I was with said they felt trapped with me, and they broke up with me, and I'm finally at the point, I think, after doing my own kind of soul-searching business and all that, of trying to figure out how to get back into it, I guess, and picking up the pieces and all that. I guess the pieces are picked up. It's just a matter of what I do with all these leftover pieces, you know? And I guess I could use some perspective on that.
Right, so you were in a relationship. Sounds like you really cared about this person, and they just wanted out.
Yeah, and I can't blame them for that, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like I was bad or anything. I think it's one of those things where you get to know somebody long enough, I guess, and sometimes you just find that thing that you don't want to stay for, you know? Sometimes it takes 10 minutes to find it. Sometimes it takes a couple of years.
Right. So this has been weighing on you since the breakup happened, it sounds like. You haven't been dating. You haven't felt like dating. How you doing?
I've dipped my toe in it here and there. I've tried, but it's just, I don't know. None of it feels the same, I guess. And I'm wondering, I guess I've decided that it'd be good to get a perspective on it that isn't just me, you know? And I'm just not sure where to start, so howdy.
So, chat, if you have any food for thought for the caller, now would be a great time to put that in there for them. It sounds like you are looking for thoughts on how to get over. Is it you trying to get over this person, or was it like a blow to your
It's
confidence?
a
And
little bit of column A, getting over somebody. It's a little bit of column B, trying to figure out what to do after the fact, you know?
right, that's the hardest thing about relationships. We put ourselves out there and bring ourselves to a vulnerable place with another person, and we put ourselves out there, and it takes two people to make a relationship, and it can take one to end it, which can be a blow to your confidence. It can make you feel like you're worthless if it was a really bad breakup. Is that what it is? You're trying to
Yeah, yeah, part of it, yeah. I
right.
mean, I'll pull back the curtain a little bit and say I did get in contact with him like a month ago or something like that, and I just kind of asked him, what could I have done better for you? Like, what were you really thinking? Now that we've had some time away, we've had some time to think about it, and all I could really say was, I don't know, which, doesn't do me much good. But,
Right.
I can't blame him for not having anything to say.
Well, I think that's good on you. It says a lot about your character that you could ask that question, that you'd be willing to hear criticism, that you'd be willing to hear what you could have done to be the person they were hoping for. Um, so I think that's my guess would be that you will go through this season of questioning what that relationship was with a lot of reflection on your own self, and trying. That's what I hear you doing here. You're trying to figure out how to um, get back what you had before you entered the relationship. And of course, none of us um, can fix how you feel. You'll have to go through this. Um, this is your journey,
You don't have a
but you,
magic feelings wand or anything?
yeah, it's
No.
fresh out of batteries. But there's a bunch of great food for thought for you in the chat already. I'll try to pull some of it out in a minute, but I'm still kind of getting my head around what it is that would make this a good call. Breakups are hard, especially if it's a relationship that you really cared about. And when I've gone through breakups in the past, I allow myself to go through a series of series, not a series, a season of mourning. Just like if it's getting over the person, then you grieve that. If it's grieving the idea of what you lost, because sometimes a relationship is um, so idealized by us that when the breakup happens, it's really the idea of that person that we miss. In other words, sometimes like a relationship ends for a good reason, and you might be able uh, to you might be realizing that this was for the best, that this ended, and yet what you're grieving in that case, at least in my experience, is the loss of the idea, the loss of what that person represented to you, the loss of the um, ability to be attracted to that type of person again. Hopefully, if it really did end for the best. We haven't been talking for very long. I don't know what the relationship was like, but it sounds like the relationship meant a great deal to you. So
Well,
my question to you would be, was it for the best that this ended? Or is there is this person still like the kind of person that you would be attracted to? Is this a season where you can learn from what happened and use it to move forward with more confidence in relationships, or is I think you get what I'm asking. I'll just shut up now.
yeah, I feel like I get where you're coming from. I'll try to figure it out. But yeah, well, I guess to answer your question, I'd never loved anybody more in my life than this person.
Mm.
We were going to get married. That's the whole thing. But, COVID set some things off and put some things off of me. And I guess it was for the best that they decided it wasn't meant to be beforehand. It's just kind of a blow to my ego, I guess. I like that person a lot. I like the idea of that person a lot. Put it back to what you're saying. I don't know what it is I'm looking for a relationship, I guess. And I guess that's part of it is, I put myself back out there for a little bit, but every time something seems to be working all right, a cute conversation, some funny banter, some a nice time together, fun evening, it just kind of, I don't want to say it didn't feel the same, because of course it didn't feel the same. I was very close to my last partner. It just, maybe you can't have that kind of closeness on the first, get-together. It's just, I don't know, I didn't feel the same, I guess, I
Was the
just
person
don't know.
good for you? Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you.
Oh, you're good. Was the person good for me?
Yeah, was it
You
a
mean
good
the people I
relationship?
tried to date, or the person I was with?
The person that broke up with you, that
Yeah.
you're dealing with the emotions from, was that person good for you? Or when you think back on it, or do you get red flags like, oh man, I can't, I gotta be more careful next time. Were there any red flags remaining after the relationship fell apart that you can learn from, or was it all good until it was over?
Oh, man. Nothing's perfect,
Right.
It's just, I guess they weren't as adventurous as I was. They were kind of I don't want to say a homebody, but sometimes it felt like, hey, let's go out and do this thing. And they'd be like, eh. It's like, okay. It's kind of a thing where sometimes it felt like every time I wanted to try something new, we'd just ease right back into the same old routines. And then they said they felt trapped with me. And it's like, I didn't want to be trapped. I wanted to do new things with you. But yeah. That's just kind of what it feels like. It's just, we weren't on the same page. And I kind of figured that already, but I'm not. It stinks,
Hmm.
It stinks.
Lydia Hill from the chat. So sorry, I was going to read something from the chat. What were you saying?
You go right ahead.
Lydia Hill says to you, did you grow with your partner? How can you grow now?
That is a darn good question.
Yeah, I think so too.
Kind of feel like I'm stuck there, which I guess is part of the reason I'm calling. It's one of those things where you shouldn't go out looking for somebody until you're where you need to be. And I don't really know where I am or where I got to go in terms of just relationship times. I feel like I'm good on a personal level. I feel like I got that on lock pretty well. It's just like going out there in the world and talking to those crazy humans. I'm just not sure where I'm at.
Do you like you? Do you like who you are?
Yeah.
Do you think
Yeah.
you're a good partner, in other words? That's kind of a broad question, so I'll narrow it. Do you think you're a good partner? Do you believe that, even after the breakup?
Yeah. I think I'm
Okay,
a good
that's good.
partner.
That's good. You have that, so you have
I'm
that going
not,
for you.
there's no such thing as a perfect couple. It's just, I think I listen
Good.
and I ask questions and I keep an eye on how people are feeling and try to have fun. I try to take things seriously when we got to do that too. I try to keep things exciting. I try to listen. And at the same time, I try to express how I'm feeling too. That way it's not just a one-way street, you know? And, yeah.
Right. Moss from the chat says, in my position, after the fact, I always tried to find some silver lining, so it wasn't just a waste of time. I think they mean, I think they're saying so that they don't have to see the relationship as a waste of time. And that's kind of what I'm getting at, that what can you pull from this? What can you learn from this situation during this time of grieving what you lost? What can you pull from that to use this time to either learn so that you're better off in future relationships, or to simply just to allow yourself to heal. They go on to say, almost always that silver lining was my own growth and the boundaries I didn't know I needed. So I don't know if you're dealing with someone who we don't know you, we don't know who your partner was, what they were like. So all we have to go off of is what you're saying. But it sounds like you thought it was a pretty good relationship. It doesn't sound like the person you were with was mistreating you or nasty in any way. So
No.
So I don't know that. Doesn't sound like what you need is boundaries, but it also sounds like you did. What I hear you saying is you were really vulnerable with this person, and you thought you were going to spend the rest of your life with them, and then they just left. And so I don't know. I don't know what it is you need, but I do think it's important to grieve that. Are you allowing yourself to grieve without slipping into rumination or wallowing in the pain of it? Are you able to
without
walk
turning
that
into
line
a
of grief?
Nine-Inch Nails song? No.
Right. Right.
I'm all right. You were asking, what I learned from it, and I'm not sure what I learned yet, except we just weren't meant for each other,
When did this happen again, the breakup?
This was just before Christmas last year.
Okay, yeah. So you've been.
So it's not new, not old.
Right.
It's just kind of in the middle.
And how old are you? I didn't get your age.
Late 20s.
Late 20s.
Do you want a number?
No, you don't have to. It helps make these calls relevant to other people who might be in a similar stage of life. It's pretty much as personal as
I get you. Sure. Other people watch. 28, yeah.
So, are you? It sounds like you're ruminating on this person. Is that the case? Because if so, you might need to find a way to stop ruminating. And it's different things work for different people. But if you broke up with this person, or if they broke up with you around Christmas time last year, and you're still thinking about them, rumination is a trap that can be hard to get out of. So, are you ruminating? Would you say that's fair?
Well, I feel like, first of all, could you define rumination for me in this instance here?
Yeah, ruminating meaning like obsessively. I don't like that word obsessive in this context because it sounds like I'm judging you. There's no judgment, but I mean I've dealt with rumination before. After been a lot of long relationships, and it can be hard getting stuck in an obsessive thought, like you're remembering the relationship. Oh, you can't stop thinking about it. It's like obsessively thinking about it all the time. It just whether it's like, how could I have fixed it? How could I have kept? What could I have done to keep them around? Like these kinds of thoughts can keep you. This rumination can keep you stuck from the healing that you actually need to move on after a breakup. And that's just my experience talking. Other people may have different opinions on that, but there's also a lot of reading you can do from actual psychologists on rumination and how it's not healthy. So yeah, that's what I'm asking is, are you kind of obsessing over this person, or is it just like...
Maybe I am more than I think. Maybe I'm thinking about him too much, and that's keeping me from figuring out what I want to do. Yeah, I could use an anecdotal perspective if you're willing to. I don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to put anything on you. You said you have some experience with it. I don't know. I'm not asking for like your. I'm not.
Well, there was a relationship I was in when I was in my it was end of high school, and we broke. I was with this girl for 3 years, and we thought we were going to get married. And nothing was really wrong in the relationship, but I just started realizing that it probably wasn't going to work out. And it was when we broke up, um, I couldn't stop thinking about her, even though it was my idea to break up. And we came very close to getting back together after breaking up. And that wouldn't have happened. It freaked me out once I realized, oh my gosh, like we're actually about to like get back together after being broken up for several months. And uh, that's a way that rumination can keep you stuck. Like everything about everything in my mind was telling me that this situation couldn't mature into something healthy long term, and that we needed to end it. And yet, by ruminating, by allowing myself to ruminate, it could have meant I got myself in a bad marriage. It could have panned out that way. So that's you asked for an anecdotal uh, thing. So that's
Yeah.
just, when I think of rumination and a possible uh, way it can go sideways, it could be like that. Like the universe has a way of kind of guiding us along towards uh, where we need to be. And
Well,
there's a great quote about um, setbacks
if I
being
can,
our. Sorry, go ahead.
if I can ask, like, you didn't say, like, how did you break out of that? How did you break out of dwelling on that stuff?
I had to realize that I could grow after that the relationship ended, so that I could grow and work on myself. And it's a little bit of a different situation for you because you didn't want your breakup and it just kind of came out of nowhere. So it's a little bit different for you, but I had to get to a point where I realized, like, okay, I gotta stop wishing that things could have been different. I gotta accept that this is the way things are, and that um, and I've got to find a way to do that without. This gets back to the chat I read earlier. I got to find a way to do that without um, resenting all those memories and feeling like I wasted my time. We can pull, even if a relationship gets nasty, even in the nastiest, most abusive relationship, there are things you can learn. So the point is, like, I had to, and I'm not saying my relationship was abusive, it wasn't, but the point is that you can take something. I can't remember who said this earlier, but this is exactly what I'm saying. That a breakup is an excellent uh, opportunity to figure out how this is going to change you, because we all change. Everybody, we can't not grow and change. Um, Now, whether we grow with intention is um, is up to us. We can grow aimlessly and wildly by not paying attention and develop bad habits and things like this. But by finding something about the relationship that was good, so that you don't have to look back on it negatively and feel like you waste your time with the person. Um, it, there's probably 100 different perspectives on this. I'm just sharing, you know, my view on this, but I think that you gotta find a way to remember the relationship fondly while allowing yourself to grow. And I don't know you. I don't know what it is you need to work on, or how this will impact you. But can you tell us some things that uh, some ways that this might be able to make you stronger or
No,
turn you into?
you've really steered me in a good direction there. And yeah, to answer your question, I guess that's sort of the point. There's a difference between learning from the past and living in it. And
Hmm.
yeah, Yeah, I mean, I've never really been a social butterfly, and this person I was with was, we kind of fit each other in that way. There's this song that just has the lyrics something like, "Your madness fits nicely with my own," and then that's something I guess I gotta do is just be happy with my madness and find somebody out there whose madness clicks with mine pretty well,
I like that.
That'd be
Yeah,
nice.
everyone's a little bit mad. I like that. Uh, that's what a relationship is. I was actually talking to a friend the other day. We were talking about what friendship is, and can't remember how this came up, but um, it's so true. Like the way I see relationship is, it's like want, people think of friendship or relationship as like this magical thing. It's like, oh, it either works or it doesn't, and it's like, actually, I think relationships are. Uh, we have most people have this automatic capacity for certain types of people or certain personality traits, and we automatically subconsciously extend these to other people. Um, and this is what I'm talking about. Like when you say what kind of people are you friends with? What are they like? What are your friends like? What kind of people do you like? I think that um, it's it's just like you put it. It's like everybody has their quirks, and you got to find somebody that you got to identify your own quirks so that you can find somebody who can extend you the capacity for those. Um, so I'm not sure if that's helpful, but I was talking about that literally just last night with my cousin, and it seemed relevant.
Sorry, you said cousin, and I had a thought for a second, but let's not dwell on
Not Jeffrey.
it.
I can't have these kind of
Yeah,
conversations with Jeffrey.
it's hard to talk about that kind of stuff with him, I'm sure.
He doesn't go too deep on emotions. Uh,
No,
but
no offense, but he seems a little bit shallow.
yeah, dissing my family now. I know you're joking.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
I won't tell him you said so.
Okay.
But yeah,
I trust you.
I'm trying to remember where we were before you asked for the anecdote, and I didn't mean to go off on a tangent about my own breakups.
I guess that's what I was asking for, and
okay. Well, I hope it was helpful.
I didn't want to be like, tell me your life story, monkey or whatever, anything like that. I guess those, yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. It's whatever your country. Yeah. Like I said, I'm a little socially awkward about that.
So what are some ways that you can use this to grow? What are some things that you uh, you think might be positives about this breakup? Well, how can you wrangle this situation to um, make you a better person?
Well, that's a darn good question. And I'm not trying to feel negative and be like there's no way or anything like that. I couldn't even tell you where I'd start on that.
You don't have to answer with us. I'm just you don't owe us any answers. I'm
Oh,
just giving you.
okay. I thought you were.
You can if you want,
No.
but maybe you could just think about that. Those kinds of thoughts help me move on after breakups. What is number one? What is good about this breakup? What will this? How will this make my future more exciting? And what will I look like 2 years from now after I've fully moved on, and maybe I'm with another person, and maybe not? And what do I want that to look like based on what happened here? Does that mean I want to be with a different kind of person, or somebody that makes me feel a different way? Or maybe there's little things, maybe there's nothing major, but maybe there's a bunch of little things that you might like to be different in your future partner. Like you mentioned, your last partner wasn't very adventurous, and you guys kind of got stuck in these habits, just these routines, and you couldn't You couldn't get out of
Yeah.
the routine very easily. So maybe there's just a dozen little things like that that you might think about uh, and look for in a future partner. Also, uh, Realm ENT said this earlier, that meditation sounds like a good idea, and I would agree. Do you meditate?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm about to drop you a resource that I love. I know there's a lot of these meditation apps that are really popular right now, like Calm and whatnot. I haven't used those, but I have to imagine they are not nearly as good as what I'm about to send you. This woman, Belarus Naparstek, is
Could you repeat that last name for me?
Naparstek, Naparstek. I'm going to put it in the chat for you, so you don't have to take a note, but you can if you want.
Oh, right. Thanks.
I'm putting her website here in the chat for you. She's a psychotherapist and an author, and she does these guided imagery meditations that you can buy as audio files, and you pay for it once, the audio file, and then you download it, and it's yours forever. And they're anywhere from 20 minutes long to an hour long, and some of them have like multiple audio files that are like kind of part of a meditation process, and some of those actually go longer than an hour. So it's really kind of up to you how you want to use them, and that's the beauty of these. But I've used some of these over 100 times, and they never get old because her voice is so soothing, and she's amazing at doing this. She has different topics or themes for these meditations. She has one on affirmations. She has one on getting off alcohol or drugs. She has some for anxiety and panic. I'm just reading some of the titles I'm seeing here. There's an anger and forgiveness one that's really good. So I'm going to put this in the chat for you. And they're anywhere from, I want to say it's like $6 to $12, depending on the length.
Oh, geez.
So I'm not sure if that's a good G's or bad G's, but I think it's well worth the money because, again, it's yours forever. And these are long, they're long audio files. It's just her talking and some soothing music. And she basically, I haven't said this yet, this is the most important part. She basically takes all the work out of meditation. You just put some headphones in, darken your room, put on a candle if you want, and you just zone out. And when you come to, you just feel like you got back from a day at the spa or something. It's just like so soothing, so relaxing. Sorry, I haven't put this in the chat for you yet, but it's going in now. Belarus Naparstek guided meditation. So I hope that the price is not off-putting to you, but I can say that these have changed my life.
It was a bit, but I'll look into it and I'll see what I can get my hands on.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Link is in the chat for you.
I appreciate
it. A bunch of people in the Anonymous Live community have used these guided meditations from her, and I'm not alone here in the love for what she does. She is amazing, and I can't imagine going through certain things I've gone through without her. Her business really, she should call it Meditation Simplified or something, Meditation Made Easy or something like that. It's called Health Journeys. She should rebrand and make it obvious that like that's what she does. In my opinion, meditation seemed like this really hard thing to me that I could never get into, and I can't remember how I found her work. But as soon as I found it, I was like, oh my gosh, I get meditation now. Like just like she taught me just without even trying to. I didn't ever really get the value of it until I found her work. So I'm giving her a big, it's a lot of praise I'm giving her, but you get the point.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Yeah, you can't recommend her enough. All right,
she's amazing.
Yeah. Well, before I go here, I guess I just wanted to ask you. I'm always a little nervous about meeting folks. I hope I was all right to talk to. I hope I was.
Oh yeah, of course. I can hear you're going through a lot, but you were very honest. I appreciated the way you shared. And I can tell that you want something good to come out of this. And so I think that says a lot about you. You seem like a very sweet soul. And we don't always get answers for why these things happen.
Really
And maybe that's
pointing me in
part
the
of it.
right direction. I appreciate that. I always get a little bit nervous about sharing how I feel because I don't want to turn into a soap opera on you or anything.
Nope, that's what we're here for. Maybe I should have called this Soap Opera Live.
Oh God.
That would have not been a good name. Not a good name.
No,
There have been a lot of
I'm
funny.
just picturing you with like a doctor's coat or something, just like.
That'd be a quick way to get sued or in trouble.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I gotta put disclaimers everywhere. Not a doctor, just a
Not
dude.
a doctor. Just a white coat. Just a white coat.
It's just a white coat. Yeah, exactly. This is my stethoscope. It's just here as a prop. Yeah.
These are my pajama scrubs,
Right.
But yeah, thank you for your time and all that. And it's called a Sea Song by Robert Wyatt. That was the song with the lyrics, the madness lyrics I mentioned, and that's all I got. So if you're all set, I'm all set.
Sounds good. Thanks for calling. Call again anytime. Would love to hear a good update. Wishing you the best.
Well, thank you very much. Have a good night.
You too. Good night. And to the last caller, there was so much in the chat that I didn't get to, specifically up top. I'm sure towards the end too, but a lot of good food for thought for you in there. You might revisit.
Sure.
Hello, thanks for calling. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, I hear you hearing me. I got you.
Yes, I can. Hi.
Can you turn your speakers down?
Yes, I'm sorry. Can
No
you hear
problem.
me better now?
I can hear you well. Can we start with your age and a brief intro?
Yes. I'm 19, and currently I've been struggling with loneliness that comes from moving countries.
Moving countries. Don't say where you are. Don't say where you are. But
I'm going to where I was born. I was born in one country. I moved to another to live most of my life, and I recently moved to a third. I am a friendly person. I like talking to people, but it's been very difficult. It's hard. Always moving. I'm not sure who's going to stick around and who's going to leave, or if I'm going to leave, and it makes friendship, it makes love, it makes it difficult. Let's just say that it wasn't my work that required me to move for most of my life. It was my parents. But yeah.
I see. Yeah, I know that's really difficult for a lot of people when moving constantly, especially if you have no control over that. And it must feel like you're just getting dragged around.
Yeah, I mean, I love my family, and don't get me wrong, there's plenty of amazing things that come from moving nations, and I'm a committed Christian. I believe in something greater, so I'm truly blessed to have that, and to have a family that supports me like that. But even in the day-to-day, as much as I might try to live out my beliefs, as much as I might try to live out kindness, no matter what country I go to, I can't perfectly understand the culture, and they can't understand me. And so I'm stuck in this limbo, if you will, in which I am unsure where I belong or where my home is. So it's rather frustrating. I don't want to overcharge it, or as the previous caller said, I don't I don't want to make it a soap opera, but especially because I grew up in a very violent setting, not with my family, but um, I was involved. I can't say too much, but I was involved in certain activities, and I grew up with this mentality of if you aren't strong, if you aren't perfectly confident, if you aren't, willing to talk smack, you're gonna get clapped, so to speak, and it's harmed how I interact with the people I care for, and love throughout life, because anytime I begin to trust somebody, I'm scared that either I will move or they will move, or that they will turn on me, or that I will harm them, and it makes it difficult. Feeling as if I'm not understood is mostly a matter of how different cultures are worldwide. I speak 3 languages.
Wow.
And so half the time the words are jumbled in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And, people ask me, which language are you speaking when you think, or like, what language are you thinking when you speak? And I tell them the wrong one, because it's never the right one. And so, cultural cues, interaction with people, certain cultures are colder than others. I come from a culture where physical touch is very much appreciated, is very much a matter of norm, and the country I'm in currently, that's not the case. That is not the situation. People are not affectionate. They're not very blunt. I come from a country in which we're very blunt. At the same time, I don't look like the countries I grew up in, and so people will tell me, "Oh, you don't look like this," or "You don't look like that," and they will assume things about me because of my skin color, and so it looks like I belong, but I don't, or I don't understand how to interact with people. That just makes it difficult to form bonds, or to put it in another way, to not weird people out. I've been talking too much, but I think without giving too much explicit information, that is currently the issue that I am going through.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. So you don't feel understood by people because of the moving so much? That would make sense, because cultures do vary a lot. So that's to be expected. But could it be that there's some trauma that this actually was a question from the chat, from who said that? Callie W said maybe it's past trauma. That's why I don't feel understood. I wonder if that's possible for you. You mentioned you grew up in a somewhat dangerous setting. So do you have some trauma that might be getting in your head?
Yeah. I'm trying to decide how much information to give or not give.
As long as you don't say a name or a location, or
Yeah.
give any information about another person that would implicate them, you can
Sounds good.
feel free to share as much or as little as you want.
Yeah. For one, my parents were not aware of this, and as soon as they were furious. I have never seen my parents this angry. I was sexually abused as a child by a professor. I had just entered into 7th grade, and it was a new school. I was lonely. I was the only child of a certain race at the school, and I was hated for it. Even teachers would mock me or call me stupid for my race. There was a girl who got into a fight with a girl from another school, and she was murdered, and the killers posted a video online saying that this race kid was next, and seeing as I was the only kid of that skin color or that race, it wasn't very difficult to guess who they were targeting. my schoolmates, my classmates grew. They, I was 12. I didn't understand. I didn't really know how to deal with it. I didn't want to tell my parents because I was scared of what would happen then. So I just kind of dealt with it and existed and lived. And the kids from the other school, their older siblings, would come to our school and throw rocks and bottles at us. The police were called, but then they were fought off because police in the country I grew up in are very corrupt. Very, very corrupt. And so people began to hate me because they told me it's your fault they're here. It's your fault that they're treating us like this. So kind of people who I considered even my friends beforehand kind of treated me like this. Again, as a child who never really grew up with many friends, it was difficult. And as I grew older, I definitely had to harden myself a lot. I got into a setting in which fighting was common. I started. It became hard to feel things or interact in ways that communicated emotion, and sometimes the only way of showing that was hurting myself or letting others hurt me. So I'd get into fights. I'd let people hit me. There was a changing point in my life. I'm not going to say that it was that I am still in that place. I was definitely at a point where, a fast path to heaven, so to speak, was definitely first in my mind. But I'm not in that place anymore, and I am thankful for the life I have and for the family I have, and for the God I have. All of these are great blessings, and I'm truly appreciative of them. At the same time, I've slept about 4 to 5 hours a night since I was 12 years old. The nightmares have gotten better, but sometimes I wake up struggling. I went to a psychological hospital, and they told me, we don't really know what to do with you. You're very self-aware. You seem to be coping. We in our talk with you, we can see there's trauma, but we can't. You seem to have been able to talk through it. We don't know how to help you. So, I got help from a different place. I went to a therapist who was also attended a church I was attending, and he was very helpful. But as I go back to where I am now, I'm in a leadership position. I'm over people. I'm helping those who are new. I'm supposed to help them fit in. And don't get me wrong, I love that, and I want them to feel loved and cared for, because it was so hard for me to feel loved and cared for. But it doesn't mean it's any less difficult, because I close myself off to interaction, to I don't want to say like, oh, I close myself off to feelings, like I'm edgy. I don't mean to be like that. That's not my intention. But I kind of closed myself off to the degree where now it's hard to care about people, and I want to care about people, and I'm getting better at it, but it's still hard. And now I'm in a position where I can mess up other people's lives, and I don't think I will. But it's still a fear, and on top of that is the fear that those who I work with, those who I interact with, that I might say something overly harsh or ruin a relationship or a friendship that I've been investing in, because I don't know whether something I've said is right or wrong or not. So, I mean that's the general concept. I think emotionally, I've gotten into bodybuilding. I've gotten into jiu-jitsu, boxing. Those are all things that help. I go to church every week, and it feels amazing to be with people who love God. and that's great. I just think I needed to talk in some way, because everybody knows me, especially here where I am right now. There's not a single person who doesn't know my name or know my face or who I am, and sometimes it's best to be honest to people who don't know that. I want to make very clear to everybody that I'm not in danger or anything of that kind, and I'm significantly improved and improving. And it, as always, it's a process, and it's one that I will grow through, and I must grow through, and I'm called to change in, and that's great, and that's amazing, because I'm able to fight that which has hurt me, but it doesn't make it any less hard, and it doesn't make it any less scary to interact with people, because of all the aforementioned reasons. I'm not going to go in circles. That's kind of the extent of what I can share without other things being implicated.
Yeah, I see where you are, and I feel for you. That sounds like a lot to go through. I want to highlight a few things from the chat that seem relevant as I've been listening. This one was from several minutes ago, I believe, from C in the chat. C says to you, this is beautifully written, enjoy people, places as they're there. Nothing is constant. Everything is always changing. Culture shock can be hard, and it will take time for you to feel comfortable. And then there was a thought about who said this, trying to find it, about somatic experiencing. I'm not sure if you've tried that. Who said that? Somatic experiencing. Are you familiar with that, caller?
I don't know what somatic. I don't know what that is actually. Yeah.
It's a physical kind of therapy that's meant to work out trauma. To be clear, I have no experience with somatic experiencing. I've never done it, but I know a lot of people say that it can be a way to process and heal from certain trauma that talk therapy can't resolve or get to. So I thought that was an interesting thought that came from Senor T-Bone about somatic experiencing or body process-oriented work. Might be something to consider. Do your own research, of course. I'm not telling you to do anything. And a couple more things from the chat. Mountain Dad says to you, the worst part about this is that I can't reach out to these people. That part's actually not true. You guys can connect in the Discord. That's why we have it for you. I just ask that the callers do their best to remain anonymous and don't go in there and reveal your identity as a caller here, because it kind of defeats some of the purpose of the anonymity. So just be careful in the Discord. You're gonna be in there. People will know your name eventually. So just use discretion. But Mountain Dad says to you, whoever you are, you're a trooper. One day, everything you are talking about will be a cornerstone of who you are, a damn good person. And there was one last thing I wanted to touch on. Another one from C. C says again to you, not everyone is going to like you. It's okay to be you and find people like you. Find people who like you for you. So those were some things that I thought might be nice for you to hear. And apologies, guys. I've been reading all day for so many different things, and you'd think that would have improved my ability to read on this stream tonight, but it in fact appears to have hindered me somehow. So sorry, I'm having trouble getting through reading tonight.
I'm a reader. I completely understand.
Yeah, somehow that muscle gets tired. But I don't know if any of that's helpful for you to hear. You're also you said you're 19, so be patient with yourself. I would, from the sound of it, you have done a lot of work through your own trauma, so it doesn't surprise me that these psychologists voiced that to you, and could see that they could see the trauma, but that they don't know where to begin with you because you were articulating it so well. So I'm glad to hear that you got some kind of therapy from, I believe you said it was your church. I'm glad to hear you got something from that. Um, you know, there's no, in my experience, there's several ways to skin a cat. Several ways to heal. Sorry, I don't mean to use a violent way to say heal, but it's
No,
it's
no,
an
I
expression,
get it.
of course. But the point is, whatever works for you, um, works for you. And so, number one, don't take anything we're saying here as like these are the ways you deal with these things. These are just ideas, and I hope any of it's useful to you. More than anything, this is just a place for you to just think out loud and just say things to people who will listen, and not judge you. So I hope it's at least cathartic to do that. What
Yeah.
would make this a good call for you?
I just, I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. I mean, I know, especially that person who said, I just can't reach out to these people. Discord or not, regardless, you have reached out to me, just by saying that. And that's truly, that does make me feel loved. That does make me feel listened to. So I want to thank all of you for that. Taking your time just to be here and talk to people and comfort them, that's special. And I know that not everything is going to be easy or fast. I mean, I still have to warn my friends to not approach me from behind because I've been literally stabbed in the back before. So I have to warn my friends about that. But
Wow.
They understand. And the fear and the fear is there, and I'm still lonely because I'm scared, but there are people, and you guys being here reminding me that there are people who care, even if you don't know me, if you don't know my face or my voice. That's important to me. Eso es especial para mí. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and I'll try not to take up any more of your time. Just thank you for having me.
We appreciate you too. Stay strong. I'm going to applaud you because you've been through a lot, and you are. Mountain Dad says that you are wise beyond your years, and Mountain Dad is right. I can't believe I'm talking to a 19-year-old. So keep up the great work. Be encouraged that you're going in a good direction. Keep doing whatever you're doing that's working, and you can call again here anytime if you need to think out loud again or want to give us some kind of update. Hopefully that update is not that you are moving again. That would not be. I don't think any of us want to hear that. So, yeah, call again anytime, and we're wishing you the best. Hope to see you in the Discord.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, great. We are about halfway through the stream. We've already gotten to 2 calls. The callers tonight have been very eloquent and efficient. So we're getting to some calls tonight. Hello, thanks for calling.
Hi.
Hello. Can we begin with your age and a brief intro?
Yeah, so I am in an industry that I'm in the aviation industry, which is an industry that just tries to suppress mental health, and because of how the FAA handles it, and it's one of those things that's really hard to deal with. And yeah, I don't know it's hard because you can't seek help because you risk your job, your livelihood, everything. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm really sorry to hear that. I hate to back up and ask again, but if I move on without asking this, I will inevitably forget to ask. Can I ask your age? That's as personal as we'll get. No names, no locations, but if we could get that, it's helpful for other people.
I am 19.
19. And you said you work in aviation, and that
I'm in the aviation industry, yeah.
Okay, and they don't want you to get mental.
So
they don't want you to get help for your mental. Like if you get a therapist, you get fired.
What it is that the FAA has medical certificates, which without them you can't, or without a medical certificate you can't fly. And when you have one, you're constantly at risk of every time you get it renewed, something you didn't know about comes up and you're not able to get it renewed and then you can't fly.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
following loosely. I think this is so out of my. I'm happy to listen. You might have to tell it to me like I'm five. I get the gist of what you're saying. It sounds like maybe you're in the military. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but of course, flying.
No,
You're not
not in the
military.
military.
Okay, but
No.
I do know that from some family members who are in the Air Force that flying is it's a very difficult thing to. There's so many hurdles and hoops you have to jump through and qualify for, and I believe even being colorblind is like a no go for flying. So I understand
It is,
that's really. It's understandable that they have to be really particular about who can fly people around. So I guess it makes sense. But what I hear you saying is that it's something different. I hear you saying that they it sounds like you could get fired if you hired a therapist. Is that right?
Well, not necessarily. Well, it's not so much even that you can get fired as that you can't fly, and then it makes it hard to do your job. And I guess an element with this is that I have another career path that I really love doing, and I've looked at, and it doesn't pay nearly as well. I look at it and I go, if I do this, I can handle all my mental health issues, and it is not, I love flying, but I also like that career path a lot, and it makes it, just takes that incredible level of stress off me, but I also know that if I go down that path, I won't be able to fly again.
Well, I wonder. What is it that you would seek therapy for if you could? What are you going through that
Well,
is you mentioned mental health?
a lot of anxiety with everything, just interactions, all of that, and then just stress. I don't handle stress particularly well. I tend to handle stress primarily by just going and running a lot, which to the point where I won't pay enough attention to my body, and I have to be very careful when I run because I can very easily cause myself to run too far and get hurt because it's something that's very therapeutic, and what'll happen is that I'll end up overrunning myself, and then I can't run, and then I'm anxious and stressed, and
So
I don't know.
So let's start with some.
Just
Go
talking.
ahead, sorry. Yeah.
Or just talking is helpful.
Yeah. Well, I don't like hearing you say you're not good under pressure. Maybe
I'm
step
good
towards
under
saying
pressure.
that is.
It's just that. Sorry, I guess I should clarify that more. I'm quite good under pressure. I handle pressure well. It's just when it's long, drawn out other things that are going on in life with, because I'm also in school at the same time. And so I just, with some of that, handling that situation is, when I start to get a lot of things going on, it can get hard to handle all of them. But like when I'm doing flying or one of those specific things to it.
Can you hear me? We had a little audio glitch there.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. We've still got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks for clarifying that. I wasn't railing you for saying you're bad under pressure. I was just trying to.
Thank you. Yeah, I needed to clarify that.
Yeah. Um, maybe you're learning to deal with stress better, which I would hope we're
Yeah.
all doing that all the time. We're never done learning anything. So,
Yeah.
and then
Uh,
anxiety, you mentioned you have anxiety. It sounds like that's really severe for you. I'm listening to this book uh, that is amazing. This guy I just discovered um, recently, his name is Gabor Mate, uh, Gabormate. Very interesting
okay.
fellow. He has this book called it just came out. It's called uh, The Myth of Normal. This guy talks. He has a very interesting take on anxiety, which is what I originally was so fascinated hearing him talk about was his perspective on anxiety. Um, you know, anxiety is uh, how it's like we get it from nature. It's there for a reason. It gets us solving problems. Anxiety is what happens right before someone solves a problem. It means you're about to solve a problem. Um, and this book, I'm not sure if it would be helpful for you. This is a book on trauma and also kind of a critique on Western society and how we just overlook trauma. So I'm not sure if that's relevant to you,
Yeah.
but I'm going to put this in the chat because I'm enjoying this book right now, and
Okay.
maybe it's helpful for you or other people. Trying to find the Goodreads link. The Myth of Normal. Goodreads.
Yeah. And then I guess with that, with it, a big thing contributing to my anxiety with flying is that I have a lot of fear because within my family, there is a history of possible ADHD, and I have not done anything about that because if I do that, I will most likely not be able to fly because of that. So that just adds on a whole nother level on top.
Right.
I don't know if I have it. I don't think I do, but I'm also never sure. So
Okay,
yeah.
interesting. I think you're gonna like this Gabor Mate guy.
Okay.
He is his book I'm really enjoying, and he's a really interesting guy. I can't believe I never heard of him before this year. But he, uh, whoops, hang on, what's going on? I'm not sure if you guys are hearing that, but I've got a video going somehow. What is going on? Okay, there we go. Sorry, I don't know if anybody could hear that, but somehow a window opened and a video started playing. Threw me off. So yeah, Gabor Mate, he is super interesting. He's a physician and an author, and he found out he had ADHD when he was like in his 50s. He's now almost 80. He's pushing 80. Uh, and he found out he had
Yeah.
ADHD in his 50s. And he has learned to deal with it. He's learned to cope with it and be very um, productive and
Yeah.
seemingly balanced. I've heard him in some podcasts, um, and he seems like a very balanced dude. And he's very candid with the way he talks about the things he deals with. So you might like other books he's written. He's written a bunch, but I hope you like that book. It's in the chat for you, The Myth
Yeah.
of Normal. Um,
Yeah. I can see it there.
But I hear you. I hear what it sounds like what you're feeling is like this uh, potential loss of a dream, uh, and
Yeah.
that's not a good feeling. And there's some hurdles for you getting what you need. I would say to you, don't. I wouldn't, if it were me, I wouldn't want to neglect my body and what it needs in
Yeah.
pursuit of a dream. And I don't know how that sounds to you, but if you need
Yeah. And
therapy, if you need,
that's one
if
of
you
the
need,
hardest things with it is knowing what to do there because it's two very different paths that don't really have an easy meeting point.
Right. That's a lot to think about. What is
Yeah.
this other thing that you would do if you couldn't fly?
I think it would. I think I'm gonna pass on that just because I think it might narrow down the pool too much.
That's fine. You don't have to answer. I'll
yeah.
ask. I'll get to what I was getting at. Is that something you could do and be happy with? Would that be better for your mental health?
Yes, I think it definitely could be. Yeah.
Right.
It's a scary thing because it's just such a different path. It would entirely change what I'm doing in school. And yeah. Yeah.
Is it possible you could still fly on your own time? I know that's an expensive hobby, but
So
if you pursue this other career path for a while,
the challenge is it would depend on the medical side of it and what happens there, because that medical side of it applies pretty much in all cases, even if you're just flying for your own fun, unfortunately.
Right.
And I have to, I guess the school I'm going to, never mind, I guess there have been in the aviation industry recently, at a university that does aviation similar to what I have there at one of those universities. There was a student that took an aircraft and killed themselves, and it hurt the industry as a whole it hurt everyone, even at other schools, because it's one big community, so people knew that person from my school even. I'm at a different school than that, but yeah, we still felt it.
Right.
Yeah, and that caused a lot of waves, but the government still doesn't seem to have any motivation to do anything about it.
So I can tell there's a lot of passion that you have for the way things are with regard to this. So it makes me wonder, like, can you funnel that energy into trying to create some change? Maybe getting some signatures. Maybe getting, trying to create your own awareness. I'm sure that you're not alone. There's some people in the chat who've said they've dealt with this or considered getting into this industry and then couldn't, or decided not to for various reasons. So you're clearly not alone. Can you use this as an opportunity to be an agent of change
possible.
for lots of people?
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but you're young, so you got time. Probably, I mean, unless I'm not insinuating you have nothing to do, especially if you're going to change careers. That's time consuming. But you're young. You've got that young energy. I would imagine if you're still in your teens, those can be very productive. That could be a very productive time of life. A lot of kids kind of waste that energy, in my opinion, on stuff that doesn't really serve them or help them in any way. And they go partying, and they make bad friends and make weird choices. But you seem like somebody who knows how to focus your energy and get things done. If you're working in the aviation industry, it's a very difficult industry to get into. So maybe you can use that energy you seem to have and that focus and that drive to create some change that you can benefit from and that others can benefit from.
Yeah, I don't know. It's certainly possible. Yeah. Yeah.
What was your childhood like?
It was good overall, I would say. There were parts that, yeah, there were parts that weren't as great, but overall, I would say it was good.
So no trauma or anything like that?
Minimal.
Okay.
I wouldn't say none, but none of it. There's a little bit that came from stuff with school, but in general, no.
Amy the Ruiner says to you, you might consider hiring a resume professional to help you transition into a different career.
Yeah.
Not a bad thought if you do decide to make that jump, but it can be easier with a professional who knows how to do that and can look at the things you've done.
Yeah. I think that's very possible. Well, I should definitely look into that.
So what would make this a good call?
Yeah. I think just talking was extremely helpful.
Okay, great.
That was, for me, that was really coming up on my comfort zone. So that coming out of my comfort zone, so that was huge.
Good.
Yeah.
Sometimes talking is all we need to do.
Yeah.
You can call again here anytime. I hope you enjoy the work of Gabor Mate as much as I have, and would love to get a good update from you. So call again anytime, and we're wishing you the best.
Yes, I may call back at some point. Thank you.
Sounds good. Take care of yourself, and have a good night.
Have a good night.
Okay, guys. Lines are opening again. Probably have time for one more call, is my guess. Got about 40 minutes left in this stream. Hello, thanks for calling.
Hi, Julian. I just called to confess some stuff.
Okay, can we start with your age? No names or locations, but if you don't mind, we'll get your age.
I'm 19. I'm in college right now.
Okay, what's on your mind?
So I've been hiding this my whole life. Through porn addiction, I've become a hebephilia and pedophile. And I don't want to be that kind of person, so I guess just talking it out, saying that, yeah, I deal with pedophilic thoughts. And it's a big reason why I'm suicidal.
I'm so sorry to hear you're feeling that way. There is a way out of any situation, and I'm happy that you are talking about this. I'm glad that you're talking about this because you can't. It's not good for us to keep things like this bottled up. Of course, it can be hard to know how to talk about some of these things because it's so taboo. And it sounds like I hear a lot of regret in your voice. That tells me you're an empathetic person. It tells me you don't want to be this way. I missed the first word you said before you said pedophilic thoughts. I think you said another word, but I didn't quite catch it. Was there another word you used?
Hebephile, which just means like into somebody that's in their teens but still underage.
Oh, hebephilia. Or I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Under that.
And you think that this started because of watching porn?
Well, I've had a pre-sexual childhood, not really trauma, just from my start I've just had I guess exposure to sexual things, and I've just been sexual my entire life, which hasn't really helped the porn addiction. So
Right.
I've done a lot of things that I regret in the past and hurt a lot of people, and it just feels logical to just stop hurting people by not living anymore. Does that make sense?
You don't want to hurt people, and you're afraid you can't stop.
Right, because I've had these times where I think I'm recovering and I think I'm doing great, but then it relapses, and then I go back. I've never contacted like a physical contact, but it's just like things online and like interaction online, and I'm just afraid that I'm gonna lose control and go back to the cycle, because I was very close to becoming a contact fetal a few months ago, and that was extremely scary to look back on.
When you say you hurt people, what does that mean?
Um, I guess just interacting with minors isn't healthy for their mind, and then I also have borderline personality disorder, which caused me to be distant and not there in a relationship in my past. And then I've also done things like creep shots and just unsolicited images, things like that.
Have you sought out therapy for this?
I can't because, well, a lot of cues can't, because therapists will call the police even if we haven't done any contact, like touch, and there's a lot of therapists aren't able or knowledgeable on how to help these people. Along with
I did
that,
not know
I
that. You can't even talk
afford
about it in therapy. You can't say, I want to get
exactly.
better.
I cannot. It would take a long time to find a one that wouldn't talk to police, and then even then, I'm in college. I can't afford it. I can't afford some like $50 an hour therapy or higher than that. That's not covered by my insurance. I can't get help, but I guess here was a completely anonymous place that I found. So talking about it here is probably the only place I've been able to say it, besides other people online that are messed up like me.
My heart breaks hearing that. I cannot believe that someone in your position who doesn't, you haven't hurt anybody physically, you haven't done anything. You, from the sound of it, you have just been internalizing this and trying to figure out how to get better. And I hear you saying you've made some efforts to improve, and I also hear you saying that each time you make progress, it seems like you fall back into it. Um, what what
The
was
harder the harder I relapse, it feels like.
right? If you don't mind sharing, what kind of trauma did you experience as a kid? What's your trauma?
Um, I I don't think anything really happened to me. It was just that I did stuff from a very young age, like touching. I guess not really touching, just um trying to get close to other people my age so I could have physical contact. But that was only in like kindergarten, and then um, sexual things just throughout, and looking at a woman in a bad way from the very beginning. I don't know what made me do that. It was just, it felt like it was just, I was just born with it. Um,
And how do you think the porn you mentioned you thought you got this way because of porn? So are you saying you were born with it, or
I
it
was,
came from? And I'm sorry if
I,
I'm not understanding. I'm trying to follow.
I was born with it, but then I think the porn just amplified it to such a large amount that I would like actively try to look for CP just as like a hobby. I was like, oh, can I do it? Am I able to? Just as a challenge for myself, not even interested in it. It just became such a huge part of me that if I left it, I would lose a part of myself.
I see. Can you get? I mean, I hear you saying why this is so difficult to seek therapy for, and I also hear you saying that even if it were possible, or there was someone you could talk to that you couldn't afford it. I'm wondering, do you have a family member that you could ask to cover your therapy? You, I don't know.
Definitely, they don't believe in therapy. None of them believe in therapy. And they're already trying to help pay for my college, so I can't get help. Yeah, I feel very alone fighting it, I guess.
Have you tried going to them and saying, listen, I know you don't believe in therapy, but I really want to talk to someone with a PhD. I believe they can help me. I want to talk to a psychologist, not just anybody. I want to go see a PhD psychologist, and I'm asking you to give me give me 5 sessions, and you tell me if you notice a difference. And if you don't, if you can't tell anything stronger about me, if you can't tell anything brighter in my eyes, if you can't see any difference on me after 5 sessions, I will stop asking you. But I'm begging you to give me 5 sessions. Have you tried that? Something like that?
No, I guess I didn't think that something like a low number like 5 sessions would even help, because I also have borderline personality disorder and depression. My depression was from COVID. I got COVID and I developed depression. And I've just heard that solving borderline personality disorder takes 10 years. I don't have 10 years worth of therapy money. And I have just a host of these issues that I feel like I'm not going to get rid of that fast.
Well,
So
you won't.
even,
You won't,
right,
but you can get some. You can get something in 5 sessions. You could use a different number, but what I'm essentially asking is, have you tried going to your parents and just leveling with them and saying, "Look, I know you don't like this. This is actually what Chris Voss would call an accusational audit. If you're trying to negotiate with somebody and you know they're not going to like it, or that you know they're not going to like what you ask for, you preface the request with a list of all the negative things they could say about you or the thing you're asking for, and you just say, look, I know XYZ. I know you don't like XYZ. I know you're afraid if I do this, XYZ will happen. Um, I'm asking you to give me a small number, whatever number you think is right. I'm not claiming that it'll solve all your problems, but you can get through you can make a lot of breakthrough in 5 sessions. Um, and I'm using a low number intentionally because it sounds like your parents are not this isn't going to be easy for them to give it to you. So if you start with a small number and then they can see in your countenance that this is actually sharpening you. This is aiding you in some way. Surely they'd be able to. You're totally right that therapy is not like a one and done kind of thing. It's a journey. But I hear you uh, describing existing in a really difficult place, and I don't want you to be there. I want you to get I want you to get out of this, and I can tell you want to, and I want that for you. And if you could get someone to pay for some therapy, and you can find somebody who will listen, and there has to be somebody. I understand that this is a really difficult topic, but surely there's some way. There's got to be someone. There's got to be some treatment for this. There's got to be. There's got to be somebody who can help you help somebody in your position who wants to recover to do that.
I guess so. Sure, I guess I should just try it out and then see if progress is made, and then move forward from that.
Right.
And if it's not that many sessions at the start,
Maybe they'll go for it. Your parents, I mean. Maybe they'll hook it up if you... I don't know how you think it's best to approach that conversation, and only you would know. Maybe you don't tell them why specifically you want to go. Maybe you give them a little bit of the answer. Maybe you tell them you want it for your BPD, which would also be true. You wouldn't be lying and saying that. But I think if you... I know that a lot of people in that generation are very skeptical of therapy. And it's so baffling to me because many of these therapists are PhD-wielding psychologists. So, like, how can you turn your nose up at that? Like, what, psychology doesn't exist? Like, give me a break, you know? But it's true that a lot of boomers are very skeptical of therapy. But I have to believe that your parents love you enough that if you went to them and just cried out for help to them, I'm not saying you make it dramatic, but if you go to them and level with them and say, listen, I am really, really deeply struggling, and I know you don't like this. Give them the accusational audit again. I know you think therapy's stupid. I know you think I'm going to be wasting money. And I know I'm already asking you to cover my college tuition, and that's not cheap. And so I realize how bad this looks. But I am begging you to give me 5 sessions or whatever number you think is the right number for them to hear and consider. I want you to get the help you need. I want you to get the listening ear you need. You deserve it because you want to get better and you haven't hurt anybody. And so I wanted to feature something from the chat that came in earlier that I didn't get to. This comes from James Denzine. They say to you, being attracted to younger people shouldn't be a part of your identity. You're a lot more than that as a human. And I do hear in your voice like that you really don't like this attraction that you have and that you want to grow past it. You want to outgrow it. But I think that thought is right. It's not doesn't define you no more than anybody's sexual preference defines them completely. And in your case, it's a difficult thing to talk about. But again, you haven't hurt anybody. And I hear the voice of somebody who wants to outgrow this. Because you told us.
I desperately want to get rid of this and not have to hate myself constantly. Because if you just look online and then somebody mentions like pedophiles, all the comments is just people saying that they should just kill themselves. Every single one saying that they should just end it all. So it just feels like so many people are telling me to just give up and end it because I'm hopeless or something like that.
A lot of people... Sorry, go ahead. I'm listening.
It feels like I'm just, one day I'm not going to be able to stop myself, and one day I'm just going to die by my own hand. And that's really scary to think about because I want to be able to be in control of myself.
You are in control. We can't control everything, but you do have self-control. That's a muscle that gets stronger with time and practice. And I don't know what it's like to be in your situation. I don't know what it's like to feel the way you feel, to have the attractions you have. But I also want to I want to say to you that I think it's really unfortunate how most societies approach this issue. And I also fully get why so many people are the way they are with regard to this struggle. But for people like you who want to get better, we have got to have, I think too many people make way too many assumptions about what it's like to go through something like this. But again, you haven't hurt anybody and you want to get better. And I have to believe that there's a therapist, a psychologist that can treat this, that can help you grow through this, that can coach you. And I'm going to put a resource in the chat for you that I think is amazing. It's the Psychology Today Find a Therapist tool. I'm not sure if you've used that before. I actually love it so much. I keep the link in all Anonymous live video descriptions. It's there all the time, but I'll put it in the chat for you because I want you to see it. This is a great tool for finding a therapist just by using your zip code. And and you can filter through you can filter through it in various ways. You can look for people with specific qualifications or offer certain treatments or modalities. And what I like to do, if you don't mind, if I have your permission to spend like 60 seconds sharing how I've gone about using this tool in the past that has saved me a lot of time and money, I will give you that.
Yeah, okay.
What I do, I've had to find therapists in different states because I've moved a lot in my life. And what I do because it's exhausting. Therapy is exhausting because you're often telling people your life story and your deepest, darkest things, struggles, and you're looking for help. And so what I do is I go on to Psychology Today. I use the zip code tool, and then I just read a bunch of bios of people that that meet the criteria of like whatever modality I'm after or whatever certification I'm after. I'll go through and just read a bunch of bios of people that are qualified, at least on paper, to talk to me. And I will make notes. I will make a list of my top 5 favorite bios that I read based on how the person describes themselves or the treatments that they offer, etc. And I'll make a list of like 5 people. And I'll call each and every one of them because most therapists will give you a 20-minute consultation on the phone for free. And I'll call them and I'll tell them what I'm going through and what I'm looking for help with, and I'll ask them what modalities they would use to help me, what tools are in their toolkit to help me, and then I kind of like just sit back and let them pitch themselves to me for about 5 minutes, and then I schedule a session with my favorite, with the person I connected with most on the phone. Because again, you can talk to most of these people for 15, 20 minutes for free. So you get a pretty good sense of what they're like and what they're actually going to do for you. And I will then I'll go make a session with my favorite person. And if for some reason a few weeks into therapy, it's not really jiving or it's not really working or I'm not getting much out of it, then I'll just go down the list to the next person that I like, my next favorite. And that has never not worked for me. And I realize that you probably need a very specific kind of person. My guess would be you probably want a psychologist and not just a counselor, because a lot of counselors aren't psychologists. It seems like you might want somebody that's a psychologist, number 1 for the pedophilic thoughts, and number 2 for the BPD. In your position, it sounds like you might benefit from talking to a very intelligent psychologist more so than your standard run-of-the-mill therapist.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that there was like different fines and all that. Yeah, I didn't really look into it that deep. I think I'll do that then.
I am rooting for you. I'm in your corner. I don't judge you. I'm proud that you have. I don't know how difficult that must have been, but I imagine it took a lot of self-control to not act on any of your impulses and actually make contact with somebody or hurt them. And so let's stop and acknowledge that for a second, that you do have that self-control. It is there. And I know you're worried that you're going to lose that. But it's a muscle you have to exercise, and you can control yourself, apparently, because you have. And so long as you continue exercising that muscle, I realize it's got to be really, it's got to feel really horrible walking through the world feeling like people would just judge you if they knew the thoughts you had. But again, I hear the voice of somebody who wants to outgrow this and grow past this and improve themselves. And I've tried my best to give you some thoughts on how you might go about jumping through the hurdles that stand between you and some therapy. I gotta believe your parents love you enough that they would give that to you if you told them you desperately needed it, and that you're scared of what would happen if you didn't get it. I gotta believe they love you that much. And so I'm wishing the best for you. I wonder if you would call us back. Would you call us back in like 3 or 4 weeks and give us an update on how you're feeling and what hopefully it'll be a positive update.
Yeah, I think I'll do the therapy thing. I'll look at that site and try to find somebody that won't help me to the police, and then try to get an appointment and then call back once I see improvement. Yeah.
And even if you don't see improvement right away, or even if you just need to talk again, you can call here anytime. Don't feel alone in this. You can call here and we'll listen. And we're all on your side here. We want to see you get the help that it sounds like you want. And a great therapist, if you can find one that will hear you out, will help you do that exercise. They're like a personal trainer to help you exercise that self-control. And I really do believe that I've got to believe that can help. Even something like a sexual preference. I'm not an expert on any of this, and I don't fully understand how these things work. But I know what I've gotten out of therapy, and it's allowed me to grow past some really difficult things in life. And so I just want you to know tonight that none of us here judge you. And please call again anytime, even if it's before 3 or 4 weeks from now, even if you just need to talk again. We will listen, and we are hoping the absolute best for you.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's nice to be able to finally say it out loud, all these things, and to have somebody believe in me. Yeah, thank you. I will call back then in a few weeks.
Sounds good. We're rooting the best. We're wishing the best for you, and we're rooting for you. Take care of yourself, and good luck.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Good night. All right, chat. We got about 14 minutes left until it's time to shut the stream down. That's not enough time to get into another call. So I'm going to close the lines, and I will come hang out in Discord for 10 minutes. It's going to take me a few minutes to wind down the stream here, and it's always tricky when a call ends around this time, because I don't want to end the stream early, but I also don't want to start a call and then only have like 10 minutes for someone to share. I don't want anybody to feel rushed. So these streams aren't going anywhere. We do these streams twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays every week at the same time, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. We also have a Discord for this Anonymous Live project. It is completely free and open to you. The link is in the description. Oh, and I'm yawning because it's been a long day. There's a lot going on. But yeah, this is these streams are the highlight of my week, and it's such a special place to me. This project is one of my it's so important to me, this project, and I believe that it's so needed. People need a place to talk. As we always inevitably see, people are constantly just grateful to have a place to just talk. So I'm sorry that we're winding down the stream early, but I will come hang out in the Discord for about 10 minutes. I'll see you guys there. Thank you so much for being here with us, and good night.